I'm Dr. Ramesh, and everybody asks me, what's my story? How did it all begin? And it's all about trying to understand everything. I, in the 70s, was a young, student in the medical college, and I always had questions of why, what happens. I had a flair in orthopedics, and I wanted to become a surgeon. That I eventually did. And the questions I would ask is, a bone breaks, how does it start healing on its own? What is it that gives a message or the signal to heal? And when I would ask my professors, they said, it is a feedback mechanism. I said, what is this? Then who gives instruction to the feedback mechanism? They said, the endocrine glands. I said, who gives the signal to the endocrine glands to start the work? They said, the central nervous system. I said, who gives the signal to the central nervous system? And they said, look, this is all we know at the moment. We don't know anything more. So I think you better accept as it is. And I was a person who didn't want to accept. I always wanted to understand how everything works. Okay? So I would do whatever I had to do. And I continued my medical education, became a doctor. Young man, got married. Okay? And I was busy with my marriage and my family and my career. And then came the problem. And the problem was a disease. And that disease was rheumatoid arthritis. And I, as an orthopedic surgeon, was told, and I knew that there is no cause for this disease. I said, how could it be that there is no cause for this disease? How can such a disease happen without having a cause? And that's when the quest began. But the person who was affected was my wife. And she had rheumatoid arthritis. And it's such a painful condition, and I know how it is when somebody has pain. In fact, life becomes hell because one gets so much of pain and discomfort that they literally become angry. And they're so angry, and so the whole house was no more in balance. It had gone out of balance. And I didn't know what to do. And normally as a doctor, I would prescribe anti-inflammatory, okay? And I would prescribe, if necessary, steroids and go up to anti-cancer drugs. But when it came to my wife, I'm hesitating in prescribing this. The anti-inflammatory I didn't prescribe because it was a fertile age. We were in our 20s. We could have babies anytime, and it was not good for the babies. Second, and we knew the side effects of steroids, and we didn't want to get the steroids. But you know what the difference was? When a patient came to me, I never thought of all these things. I very easily prescribed these medicines, but when it comes to my dear one or my family, I'm thinking twice to do that. So it didn't make sense to me. Why there is the duality? For somebody, I decide not to, and for somebody, I decide. So there was something missing in my whole system. And again, why there is no cause? There has to be a cause. So I wanted to search for the cause, and I wanted to find a solution. We went to different forms of medicines like Ayurveda, like natural, that Unani medicine, and Siddha medicine, and all these type of medicines, only to realize that none of them could help her. And she was in the same situation. And with great difficulty, being a doctor, I stepped out of my comfort zone of going to listen to a energy talk on Reiki. And I myself didn't want to do that because I felt that has no research, there is no science to it. So if there is no science and no confirmation, how can I go to this system? But I had no choice because we had tried everything, so I had to go. And it was the most amazing 2 days, an eye-opener for me about everything about energy, when I understood that it's a lack of energy in a system which causes a discomfort, a symptom, or a pain. I said, wow. So all I need to give my wife is energy? And then I learned that science, and I started working on her. And as I started working and I teaching her how to give energy to a local part, it was as simple as going to the problem area and giving attention to it. Just like we give attention to our baby who's crying and coming, and we take her, we hug her, and we give her the love. It was exactly similarly, all it required at that moment, as for my understanding, was to give love to that portion. And we worked with this system, and we took various steps to learn all these energy modalities, and somehow we managed to reverse her disease process and she became healthy again. Even the blood factors, the RA factors came back to normal. And there was absolute evidence. No science was required, no research was required, because I could see the change in her. If she's got better, that means she's fine. But then comes the question, why did this lack of energy happen in her system? That is when I realized that the lack is as a result of the stress she was going through. Now she was from a different culture, I was from a different culture. And both of us, with our conservative parents, finally got married, and she wants to do her best to see that the family and parents and everybody is happy. And she was trying to adapt to the food situation, the culture situation, the system situation, the place situation, the language situation, and all this she wanted to do her best. All this had happened, and in fact the rheumatoid arthritis happened after she had the first child. My son was born. So I finally came to the conclusion that because she was stressing herself, and that stress led to the development of disease. That gave me a bulb lit up inside me. I said, good. So that means stress is the cause of disease. So that means persistent stress is the cause of disease. And stress by itself is as a result of lack of energy. I said, how can that be? Now look at it. Do we like to be angry? Do we like to be hating? No. These are all negative signs. So there is a lack. That is why we become angry. So I understood it that if somebody is hungry and we want to give food to them, okay, and they don't get the food and they continue to be hungry, then automatically anger comes in. You get tired, you get weak, you're not able to think if you're hungry. So that is what exactly is happening at the point of the problem. Wherever the disease is, wherever the discomfort is, that is what was happening, that there was no food, no nutrition reaching it. And what is the kind of nutrition the body needs? Is oxygen and a food. The carbohydrate, proteins, whatever is required for the cells. If there is a lack of that system, it will go away. Now how did stress affect it? Stress affected all the blood vessels, the circulation was not good, and that is the reason I hypothesized is the possible reason why it was happening. And the moment when we started giving energy to the space, it started getting better and the symptoms got better. So that is how I realized that the connection between disease, stress and lack of energy. Then I said, okay, my wife is better. If I can do it with her, it should happen with the other people also. So we started treating rheumatoid arthritis patients and we started getting the same results. Then I said, if it's coming to this, and if stress is the cause of this disease, stress is the cause of many more things. There are so many diseases we have. Okay, most of them are psychosomatic. Can I do that for other diseases? Can I use it for other things? And that is how it opened up, and we started doing it with most of the orthopedic diseases. Then my wife being a pediatrician, we put it into the pediatric aspect, and slowly we started getting known. People started knowing us and they wanted to come to us and they wanted to get the treatments and sessions, and we were able to help the full spectrum of diseases we knew. But the only limitation I found over this period was that any mechanical deformity or a mechanical defect, we were not able to help. Otherwise, anything which was physiological, which was changing inside the body, we could see the difference and the person would start getting better. Now this was so amazing for me. So now I really realized that now I wanted to know, why is it that we have a lack of energy? What is the reason we have a lack of energy in the system? And that clarity came is just because we were not educated. We were ignorant of how to source energy naturally. And that's when I started opening up. Besides the patients and besides the diseases, I started applying this with plants. I started applying it with animals. It worked wonders. And that's how I created various tools in order to help to source energy. That brought us to another stage, is ignorance was the cause. As it is, because we are ignorant, that is why we don't know how to source the energy. We don't eat right, for example. We don't breathe right, for example. We do not drink the right kind of water. So we were supposed to be educated in all these aspects. We don't live in the right environment. We use all those things which are not okay, but telephone, televisions, mobile things, computers, laptops, all the electrical goods, all these also had a bearing. So once the ignorance was wiped out, automatically we started feeling good and our body started functioning well, and the knowledge came in. So this is how the whole series went on, and it went on and went on over the past 39 to 40 years, and eventually developed into what it is now. And we finally realized it's all about an individual within. All the knowledge is within ourselves, and we can raise this knowledge and we can tap this knowledge the moment we drop our ignorance. And the ignorance is the blocks. So we need to let go of these blocks. And also we brought a clarity that there are not only 5 senses like eyes, ears, the smell, the taste, the touch, but there were higher senses. And the higher senses was the sense of energy, the sense of consciousness, and sense of awareness. And once this came into clarity, I really understood that all we needed to do was to work with our ACE. A means awareness, C means consciousness, E means energy. These are also just like muscles. If I continue to work with my muscles become stronger. So I need to continue with my awareness every day so that I strengthen my awareness, work with my consciousness so that I can strengthen my consciousness, and work with my energy in order to strengthen with my energy. And once this became clear, we said, wow, if we can strengthen our awareness, consciousness, energy, automatically we are able to create or manifest. And once we manifest something, whether it's a business, whether it's a family, whether it's a home, okay, whether it's an education, then we have to sustain it. And that sustenance is brought about by enriching whatever we have manifested or whatever we have created. And the enrichment allows the sustenance to happen. And then as time passed, I said, wow, I manifested that. And I've sustained it. What was I there? And what am I today? I've achieved so much. And I feel fulfilled. And that's how the fulfillment came. So the final realization was, as it stands today, that in order to manifest whatever we want, be it health, be it a family, be it education, be it a business, be it an environment, be it spirituality, all we needed to do was strengthen our awareness, which has all the knowledge required in order to do that. Then, second level, strengthen the consciousness and energy aspect in order to be able to manifest whatever we want in life. And once we have manifested it, we could sustain it. And once we've sustained it, we feel fulfilled and content. And that is what is our satisfaction. And that is my satisfaction of whatever happened to me in the last 40 years. Thank you.